A stranger at the gym had a tattoo of my father's face. My father died in a car accident a year ago, and it took me months before I felt ready to get a memorial tattoo. I finally found a portrait artist who specialized in realistic tattoos and gave him my favorite photo of my dad. The tattoo came out incredible on my forearm, like my dad was right there looking back at me. I'd been showing it off to friends and family for about 6 months when I went to a new gym closer to my office. I was on the treadmill one morning when the guy next to me reached up to adjust his headphones, and I saw a portrait tattoo on his forearm. I glanced over casually and my legs almost gave out. It was my father's face. Not similar, not kind of like him. It was him. Same eyes, same crooked smile, same everything. I stared so hard the guy noticed and gave me a weird look. I had to say something. "That's an amazing tattoo," I managed to get out. "Who is it?" He smiled and said it was his dad who passed away a couple years back. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Without saying anything, I pulled up my sleeve and held my forearm next to his. He looked down at my tattoo and then back at his own. The color drained from his face. "What the hell?" he said. "That's my dad." We both got off the treadmills and went to the locker room where we could talk without people staring. He kept looking at my tattoo like he was seeing a ghost. "What's your name?" I asked. "Colin." He was shaking. "My dad's name was Noah Hutchinson. He died last March in a car accident." I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. My dad was Noah Hutchinson. He died in March too, in a car accident. Colin sat down hard on the bench and put his head in his hands. We sat there in silence for a full minute before he asked if there was a funeral. I told him no. My dad had always said he wanted to be cremated immediately with no service. Colin looked up at me. "That's what my mom said too. That's why we never ran into each other." I asked him where he grew up and he said Seattle. I said Portland. He asked if my dad traveled a lot for work and I said yes. 2 weeks gone and 2 weeks home my entire childhood. Colin started laughing, but it wasn't a happy sound. 2 weeks. Always exactly 2 weeks. We exchanged numbers and agreed to meet in a few days because neither of us could handle this conversation in a gym locker room. I drove home in complete shock and had to pull over twice because my hands were shaking too hard to steer. When I got to my apartment, I sat in my car for 20 minutes just staring at the tattoo on my arm. Every memory I had of my dad felt like a lie now. Every time he said he had to go on a business trip. Every time he missed my birthday or a school event because of work. He wasn't working. He was with another family, with another son. I finally went inside and immediately called my mom. "Did you know Dad had another family?" The words came out harsher than I meant them to. There was a long silence on the other end. "What are you talking about?" Her voice was shaking. I told her everything about Colin and the tattoo and the matching details. She started crying so hard she couldn't speak. When she finally caught her breath, she told me she had no idea and asked how this was even possible. I told her I didn't know, but I was going to find out. After I hung up, I went through every box of my dad's things I'd kept. I found credit card statements my mom must have missed, charges in Seattle for groceries, gas, restaurants, plane tickets, hotel receipts from years ago before he apparently got the apartment. My phone buzzed with a text from Colin. I told my mom. She's devastated. Neither of them knew. I texted back asking if he wanted to meet the next day instead of waiting. I couldn't sleep anyway. Colin came over the next morning and we spread everything out on my living room floor. Credit card statements, plane tickets, apartment rent receipts going back 3 decades. The evidence was overwhelming and sickening. 2 weeks in Portland, 2 weeks in Seattle, back and forth for 30 years. We barely spoke while we went through it all because what was there to say? Colin found a birthday card in one of the folders. It said "Happy Birthday, Daddy" in crayon with a little flower drawn at the bottom. It was signed Michelle. I looked at him. "Do you have a sister?" He shook his head. "Do you?" I said no and felt my stomach turn. Colin opened his laptop and started searching social media for any Michelle connected to our dad's name. I watched him scroll for 20 minutes, my heart pounding harder with each minute. Then he stopped. Oh God. He turned the screen toward me. There was a woman in Phoenix, probably in her early 20s, with photos of our dad on her page from years ago. One photo showed him holding a little girl who couldn't have been more than 7 or 8. The caption said, "Best dad in the world." Her mom was tagged in the photos, a third woman we'd never seen before. Colin and I just stared at the screen. I thought about all the times my dad told me I was his whole world, that being my father was the best thing that ever happened to him. He'd said those exact words to me the week before he died, and apparently he'd said them to Colin too, and probably to Michelle. I looked at Colin and asked the question we were both thinking. How many families do you think he had? Full story on the channel below.